Who are you? You are not that story. You are not the way you perceive yourself in your distorted view. If you look at yourself and you say, I'm physically unattractive, I can tell you that you're wrong. It's a misperception. It doesn't matter that I tell you that. You'll have to see it for yourself. You'll have to see it for yourself. But I can point in the right direction and say, you're simply not seeing clearly who and what you are. There's a misunderstanding. There's a misidentification. So how can we become identified to the thing that never changes, the thing that never grows old, the thing that was never born and will never die? That requires a practice. And the removal of layer by layer of story, little by little, and the movement of the physical body, the calming of the mind, the cultivation of intuition and higher wisdom. We talk about the elevation of consciousness like it's some kind of woo-woo California thing. The elevation of consciousness is so that you can see clearly what you are and live from that place. Our beloved Annesa has a question for us today.
Well, first, Tommy, thank you. It's nice to see you again. And Kia, I miss you guys so much from Costa Rica. I think about that all the time. All the time. I've grown quite a lot since you saw me back in that jungle. I'm just in love with Recovery 2.0 and what you're doing. Returning to traditional AA, again, I have absolutely nothing but gratitude for that program. But for me, there's no way around every effort I've made to be of service with my yoga, my 12 SRs. You know, Nikki offers that, and I'm certified space holder, but they want nothing to do with it. So I can totally relate to the people that are saying, you know, this isn't AA. I've gotten that. And I just stopped and said, what is my higher power trying to tell me? You know, where am I being led? And it's here. It's just here. And I don't want to, there's no more, why do I want to fight that? Why do I want to push? It's not happening. I've tried every time, every way, every meeting, every format. So I'm back here and I'm grateful to be here more than you know. And I was sad I couldn't go to India. I will be going to India. My good friend Suzanne from Costa Rica, she's really good friends with your wife. She can't talk highly enough about her. And this brings me to my question. I hear you're doing a food recovery or reset, and I'm so happy for that. I think I was about 20 to 30 pounds heavier when I saw you in Costa Rica. Part of that was the traditional weight gain and the let's eat some sugar. You know, the coffee and cigarettes were kind of out by that point for me in my community of traditional AA. But there was definitely a pervasive have some sugar and ice cream. And I knew better as a nutritional yogi of 25 years. But I still kind of dove into that a little. So it's been a long journey with me of discovery with this eating disorder that preceded my addiction, along with body dysmorphia from sexual abuse. We've got a whole gamut that we've discussed here. So Annette helped me forming this question, but I feel like it's been answered as well. So I'll just pose it because in keeping with this, format, can one truly recover from a lifelong struggle with food and body dysmorphia resulting from sexual abuse?
Okay. What a powerful question. Annesa, thank you so much for your courage in asking it and your vulnerability. Huge. So one can always recover. One can always recover in terms of a spiritual recovery, an emotional recovery, a recovery of one's true self is ultimately what I believe recovery is all about. The truth of you has not changed. It didn't change when you experienced sexual abuse. Underneath that pain and that suffering, underneath that trauma, the diamond light within you remained unchanged. And it's there now. Recovery of self means to come to the truth of who and what you are. It has been said that the greatest achievement in this life is to realize the divinity within you, and that the greatest tragedy is to die without realizing it. The challenge and the ongoing, one of the ongoing side effects of trauma is that it keeps you in a story and in an experience that keeps you at a distance from your divinity, your innate, beautiful divinity within. So one associates or attaches to the idea of having been somebody who has experienced abuse like this. The question was, can one recover from lifelong trauma and body dysmorphia and all the other things that go along with that, which was caused by sexual abuse? The first question we'll ask is that true? Is that what caused your body dysmorphia? Is that the cause of it? I don't know the answer. It's an inquiry. The first thing that came up for me when you said that is, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's true. Or I wonder if the mechanism, the survival mechanism that you employed as a little girl to survive that event created a series of reactions, a series of thoughts, a series of stories, and a series of very real, visceral, emotional experiences in the body that led to the misunderstanding, not just of who you are in your core, but a misunderstanding or inability to view accurately, lovingly, your body, your physical body. How can we bring a person who sees in the mirror one thing to stand in front of that same mirror and see something else? And yet we know that over time, of course, what we're seeing in the mirror changes, not because the mirror changes, but because our perception of the way things are has changed. Like when I used to say to Guru Prem, I'd really like to make a big impact in the world. I see a lot of problems. And he said, you want to make the biggest impact? I was like, yes. He's like, just change yourself. Just change yourself. If you change yourself, the world will be changed. Everything you see will be different. Literally. Powerful lesson for someone like me. So the challenge here is that we have, as always, as human beings, a case of mistaken identity. Really take that in for a moment. The identity of a girl who's been abused, the identity of a person in recovery, the identity of an addict, the identity of a white male, the identity of a white female, the identity of a black male, the identity of an American, the identity of being wealthy, the identity of being poor, the identity of being sick, the identity of being well. How many more identities could we possibly take on, none of which actually accurately reflect who and what we are internally? Never mind the perceptions on top of these identifications, which have been fed to us not just by us, but by others, and we've been informed. And so we find out that we're under the influence, deeply. So badly under the influence, sometimes we can't even see it. We're so normalized in this identity we've taken on that it's impossible to see clearly, to hear the quiet voice within, without some kind of guidance and some kind of practice that cultivates silence and stillness. We may never connect with what we actually truly are, because there's so many layers of thought and opinion and ideas and, all of this has been laid up on top of that pure, brilliant diamond within you. And so the path of recovery, the path of yoga, as I see it, as Recovery 2.0 people seem to walk it, is a subtractive process. We can't add to you because you're already perfect in your core. We can't, fix you fundamentally because there's nothing broken. It's just layers of gunk on top. And so those layers which help you to not see clearly, those layers need to be removed one layer at a time. Is this true? Is this true? Is this true? None of this is true. Is this true? What am I at my core? Who am I? I know I'm not this body. How do I know? Because it's changing. I stand in front of the mirror. I'm like, I can't believe this has happened. Truly. Oh my God. 56 years old. How did it happen? I was 16 just a half a second ago. Truly. Wait, I'm in here. Can't you see me? I'm in here. The 16-year-old. Can't you see me? I'm still here. That's the timeless part of me speaking. The part that never changes, the part that's connected to spirit, God, whatever your thing is. That part in me wants to shine brightly, shine through this personality. Shine through this personality so that this personality, this identity, as Tommy Rosen, can be just nothing more than an observed program. I'm in the program of Tommy Rosen right now, and that's fine. Let Tommy Rosen shine inside out. What could Tommy Rosen be? Good inquiry for Tommy Rosen. What could you be? Who are you? You are not that story. You are not the way you perceive yourself in your distorted view. If you look at yourself and you say, I'm physically unattractive, I can tell you that you're wrong. It's a misperception. It doesn't matter that I tell you that. You'll have to see it for yourself. You'll have to see it for yourself. But I can point in the right direction and say, you're simply not seeing clearly who and what you are. There's a misunderstanding. There's a misidentification. So how can we become identified to the thing that never changes, the thing that never grows old, the thing that was never born and will never die? That requires a practice. And the removal of layer by layer of story, little by little, and the movement of the physical body, the calming of the mind, the cultivation of intuition and higher wisdom. We talk about the elevation of consciousness like it's some kind of woo-woo California thing. The elevation of consciousness is so that you can see clearly what you are and live from that place. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We trained ourselves into seeing and identifying the things that we do. And we have to train ourselves out. So we're on this fact-finding mission. The fact-finding mission is what's true here and what isn't. If I know this body is changing, I know it's not ultimately true. It comes into form and it's going. So what is true? There is a truth here. Something that doesn't change is here. The consciousness itself. The happiest moments of our life are when we settle into that consciousness. We get glimpses of it. Sometimes we'll see it at a sunset. We'll feel it sometimes when we're in that unconditional love that an animal or a pet could bring us. We can feel it and sense it when we look into a lover's eye, present. We could sense it when we have some gelato on the streets of Rome. It'll show up in all kinds of places. It'll show up in all kinds of places. It's a miracle taking place right now. And it's the only miracle there's ever been. And it's never stopped. Our choice, look at the miracle of that incredible dog that you have right there. You're beautiful. Doggy who gives you so much love and you gain so much from it and you sense something there. That thing. Your dog doesn't look at you and think you're unattractive. Your dog doesn't look at you and think you have a body that should look any other way than it does. Your dog doesn't see you as an abused person. You're just love. You're just love. You're just connection. You're just presence. You're just kindness. You're just compassion. And every now and again, you're the one that brings nourishment to that beautiful creature. It'd be good if we saw ourselves the way our pets see us. So you see, this is a subtractive process. So we do our practices to move away the things that get in the way of the true identity. In Kundalini Yoga, we talk about this mantra, Sat Nam. Sat being truth, Nam being identity, our true identity. We actually chant that mantra, and we say that mantra as a greeting to each other. Sat Nam, meaning I see your true identity. I see you for what you really are. It's a beautiful way to greet somebody. I think we should all do it more often. I see you. I see you. Let me reinforce for you what's real here. I see you here. I see you behind the eyes. Your spirit shining through. So any thought whatsoever that you don't belong here, that you're not, that you don't have the right to love and be loved, that you're not a powerful being, that you're disempowered, any of these thoughts are based in stories that aren't true. It's so important that you know that, because if you know that, then you can start to move that stuff out of your mind and say, oh, it's an interesting thought. I know it's not true. Interesting thought. I know that's not true. And you keep doing that, and you know what is true is, oh, well, there's another voice coming in. I am love. I am present. I am capable. I am loving. I'm lovable. I'm powerful. I'm creative. I participate in the unfolding of my life. And those other voices, those old stories, those old intrusions, the nonsense of it starts to drop away, because you're living in a vibration of truth. Truer and truer and truer, one day at a time. And of course, it doesn't happen right away, but the effort is steady and continuous. And you find yourself a little bit more light in your step, a little bit lighter in the inner dialogue. Guru Prem used to say to me, do not complete a negative sentence about yourself in your head even. Don't complete a single negative sentence about yourself. And I laugh, because that's all I used to do. It was just like this horrible dialogue going on about me. Who wants to live that way? Nobody. So that had to be worked out. I had to work that out. And I'm happy to tell you that the dialogue in my head is just, honest to God, it is lovely today. I'm good company to be with. And I've cultivated the ability to be still and quiet and just to be with me, and to have that be enough. I'm a social creature. I still love people. I want to be around people. I want to go out in the world and have experience. I love all that. And I'm not afraid of me, because inside me is that diamond, just like it's inside you. And I've touched on it enough times now that it becomes the baseline. No longer do I believe the negative voices in my head. No longer. They don't have a place, a foothold like they used to. They can still come, but they go. And they go quicker than they used to, and they come less frequently. And I just am not attached to those thoughts any more than I'm attached to what I'm seeing take place in the mirror, which the ego piece of me is like, could just shred me. The ego part of me could just tear me to pieces. I'm above the influence of that to a great extent these days. And anybody can practice that and work on that and move themselves to a greater level of presence. Okay. So Annesa, what comes up for you as you hear this exploration?
Well, thank you so much. I'm sure you're parched. That's a lot. But of course, I love your enthusiasm and your commitment. And I'm there. I'm where you are. I've worked really hard. The question came out more intellectual. Other than, in my daily practice, it's mindfulness and connecting with myself. I do like the person that I am. I got to work on recognizing the diamond. I pretty much know that it's an old groove, and just like I think of my brain as like the computer, and making a new groove is going to take time. Yoga is, my fave of all time. You guys introduced me to Kundalini around the same time that I was introduced to Asanga on Clubhouse of all places. So I've been practicing a lot of Kriyas. I remember being in Costa Rica, being very uncomfortable with the Kriyas because in my body, I wasn't in a good place. I've gotten stronger. I got a trainer. I worked on my nutrition. Suzanne helped me with that. Looking forward to meeting your wife to talk more about these female things with body and image and blah, blah. But yes, I agree with absolutely everything you said, because I'm living it. I'm working on it too. And we're on the same path. And I really appreciate this community and your response and your time and your effort and your passion.
Well, that's so beautiful. And I'm so glad to hear that things are going so well, and that you could voice a question that's going to be of such relevance to so many people. And I want to say it's not just women, that it's men as well. And anybody who is willing to really consider this question about the way we perceive ourselves, which is really what this is about, it's going to be relevant to anybody. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And bless you, Satnam, and bless you in your recovery and all the goodness. So thank you guys so much. This was such a joy for me to be with you. I can't express it to you. It's just such a joy to look at your faces and to connect in this way. So thank you for your time and all this time that you've given today, this 2.5 hours. So thank you so much. And I want to just let you go, but let's come sitting up nice and tall, and we'll recite the Recovery 2.0 prayer. If you don't know it, just hum along with us. Inhale to begin. Universe, put us in the places you want us to be, with the people you want us to be with, doing the things you want us to do. Thank you for the joys and challenges of our lives. Amen. Satnam and Namaste.